What exactly is moderation? Welcome to the Friday Value video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a term that is extremely ambiguous, and hopefully by the time I'm done, you will agree with me. What exactly is moderation? Everyone agrees. That's what moderation is. Have you ever noticed that one of the only times that everybody agrees is when they're talking about moderation? See if anybody ever disagrees with you when you say in moderation. They're always going to nod their head yes. Have you ever wondered why that is? Well, I always like to define things. So let's see what Webster's definition of moderation provides: an avoidance of extremes in one's actions, beliefs, or habits. The kind of person who does everything in moderation. Does that actually explain anything? What on earth does that mean? What's an extreme? How does that define moderation? It's still completely ambiguous. Does that mean they don't eat too much or drink too much or spend too much or whatever? I hope you can see where I'm going with this. Moderation is one of the most ambiguous terms ever spoken, and even the definition doesn't define it, because it means something different to every person who speaks the word. To you, it may mean only having one glass of wine each night. Of course, we read all those articles and see all those videos that wine's good for you. I won't get off on that tangent. To your neighbor, it may mean only having one glass of wine each week. To another person, it may mean only having a glass of wine on a holiday. Are you with me? The reason everyone shakes their head in agreement when discussing moderation is because everyone is thinking of what it means to them. And of course, they agree with themselves. That's why they're nodding their head. So let's talk specifics, not ambiguity. Here's what I do when I teach facts regarding optimal health. I teach specific numbers based on the science. I use the words no more than 2 to 3 times a week for animal foods, or never, because these are optional. But the science does show that if you don't go above 2 or 3 times a week, you have radically reduced your experience of a lot of the bad stuff that happens to us. It's the 2 or 3 times a day that causes that to happen. Or I'll say none when it comes to adding oils to your food, or never when it comes to dairy. And again, that's the science. Or less than 6 when it comes to the number of teaspoons of sugar a day, because we're told that if it's under 6 teaspoons a day, there's no adverse effects seen. Now, 1 can of soda has 12 teaspoons of sugar in it. So it's very easy to overconsume sugar if you're eating like the standard American or Western world diet. There's no ambiguity when you're learning in one of my classes. You're never confused or guessing about how much of something you should eat or how often you should do something. You won't hear eat less of this and more of that. What is less of something? You won't wonder what to do. These ambiguous terms are used by organizations like the AND, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which leaves the public completely confused at best and misinformed at worst. So, if you have a false sense of living a healthy life of moderation, you may be unpleasantly surprised if something happens to your health because your moderation doesn't line up with scientific facts or your neighbors. Learn the facts. Read content from people like Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. John McDougall, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Pam Popper, or Dr. Neil Barnard. There are a lot of people out there who give you specifics, and you're not left confused or wondering what to do. You want to make the excellent choice, or at least the good choice. You don't want to be average, because that's where all the common nasty stuff happens, and you certainly don't want to be poor. And I'm talking in your choices. So know how often to have lifelong well being. I'll see you next week.